this just got way, way worse. And TMZ has a crazy exclusive for everyone, which is that Drake is not done with this petition. He withdrew that petition the other day. Everyone rejoiced. He rolled everything all into one big basket and is going against UMG in a heavy way. UMG, you's not like us to tear down my career. Drake, you done said similar things against Kendrick. Would you have wanted UMG to be sued if you won the battle and Kendrick sued UMG for defamation? Is that how this would have went down? Or is it only going down this way because Drake is a special kind of person? He's the special one. He's the one that no one can touch. How dare UMG go against me? How dare Kendrick and UMG support Kendrick against me and the fans turn against me? In the end, that's what this really seems to be about. That's the part that's really getting to me, because if Drake had something against this defamation, he really is upset about this defamation, why doesn't he sue Kendrick? He's suing UMG, which is the part that makes me wonder, is it really about defamation? Or is it just the part that Kendrick won the battle? And UMG turned on me, and I can't accept that. So a lot of people were rejoicing the other day when we heard that Drake withdrew the petition against UMG and Spotify, the one that said that Not Like Us was botted. There's been this controversy, people saying that Drake negotiated. When you read those documents, there's nothing there except that he withdrew. But now we have a new story, an exclusive from TMZ. And now Drake is actually going forward with what seems to be a federal case against UMG for defamation of his character. That is one reason why I think we saw that in this statement, UMG didn't say nothing. Now, I want to get right into this article because this is really, really interesting. Drake right here, it says UMG used Not Like Us to tear down my career. He sues label for defamation, which this is something that we all saw coming. We see a double down that this is going to be going forward, especially day after the withdrawing of the other petition. All right, so it says here, Drake is not backing down in the war against his own label. In fact, he's now upped the ante by suing Universal Music Group for spreading the false and malicious narrative that he's a PDF. TMZ Hip Hop has learned. Okay, so now we see that he's going forward saying that UMG promoted this song that said I was a PDF and it's defaming my character and it had a malicious narrative, and UMG was pushing that forward, so I'm suing UMG. Drake filed a defamation case Wednesday morning in federal court in NYC. Now, this is interesting because it's in New York, ripping UMG for releasing and promoting Kendrick Lamar's vicious diss track, Not Like Us. In the docs obtained by TMZ Hip Hop, Drake says UMG knew full well Kendrick's lyrics and images in the music video, referring to Drake as a PDF. They were false and dangerous. So now he's saying that, UMG, you knew the lyrics, you knew what Kendrick had to say, you knew what was to be said in the song, and you continue to promote the song. And, again, this is back to the same conversation about, what about Drake's song? What about Family Matters? And what about what he said about Kendrick, beating his queen, and that his kids are not his. His queen slept with another man that had Kendrick's children. All this defamation, where's the defamation about that? But again, this was a rap battle. Things were said on both sides. My question is, if Drake had won the beef in a way, would Kendrick Lamar sue Drake? Then he continues on to say, in the suit he calls Kendrick's hit, filled with inflammatory and shocking allegations, was a gold mine for UMG. They had an ulterior financial motive in promoting it. This seems kind of obvious to me, right? I mean, if UMG is a label and they're there to promote the songs that the artists make, there's a lot of songs with lyrics. So, I mean, of course, this is something they would do, right? But what makes Drake so special in this case that since something negative was said about him and they promoted this song, that now this is all wrong when Drake has benefited from this same machine? Now, granted, there's what we are seeing here as defamation, right? Something bad about his character, let's say, and that's being promoted. So that's what we'll see what the courts decide. When you make music and you make rap lyrics, it's supposed to be all fiction in a sense. And I think that's the interesting part, because it's like, well, if people are reading into this as nonfiction, as like this is real, and that says more about how people are perceiving Drake, more so than what Kendrick said specifically, right? Because it's supposed to be fiction. Then it goes on to say, Drake claims his label was doing everything it could to pump up Not Like Us, because it knew it would devalue Drake's music and brand and therefore give UMG leverage in future contract negotiations with Drake. Of course, they're gonna pump up Not Like Us, as they would pump up any song from an artist that they are promoting. He's saying that they specifically knew that it would devalue Drake's music and brand. And that's the part that's kind of interesting. Why would UMG do it because it's to devalue Drake? And you might say that's for contract negotiations and things like that. Let's be fair, right? Kendrick, we know he won. But could any of us, and even UMG, have predicted that Kendrick would have come out with this amazing anthem and have come on top of the beef so victorious? Who would have known, right? Like, you can't say that for sure, like, Kendrick was gonna drop this bomb, this Euphoria, Not Like Us, Meet the Grams. So how did they promote it knowing that it would devalue the music? No one knows for sure, right, how music will be perceived. So you promote it and it does what it does. Did they have malicious intent? That I don't know. And I don't know why they would want to have malicious intent. If they want Drake on their side, yeah, you might say because they want to devalue him so they could, purchase his music for less or have negotiation with him for less money. I don't know. That seems like a lot of prophetic, undertones here that I don't know if UMG could possibly have about the beef. It goes on to say Drake says he's got bot receipts to show just how far the label went to turn Kendrick's song into an anthem. According to the suit, UMG paid a third party to use bots to increase the song's streams by at least 30 million and engaged in a pay-for-play scheme with at least one radio promoter. Now, this is interesting because I thought that this was related to the petition that he withdrew the other day against Spotify and UMG. So now it seems again like a double down. Maybe he's really rolling everything all into this because now he's not just talking about defamation. He's saying he has receipts and he has some sort of proof that they attempted to turn it to an anthem and to bot it. The part of them trying to turn it into an anthem and promote it, that I don't get, and it seems like very reasonable for any record label to do. But the part that is confusing is that they botted it to 30 million. Now, the question here to me is this illegal? And that's something that we need to find out because a lot of people are of the idea that all music is botted in some way. And it's sort of a way of promoting the music. It's a form of promotion. And that this is something that they're doing for a lot of musicians, right? Drake's not the exception. Kendrick may not be the exception here. Is it illegal? And if it is, whether or not Drake does it, so why is he doing this? I think the bottom line, if it's something illegal and he could prove it, I think there could be something there. Not that I want it to be, I think this is horrible for hip hop, but that maybe there could be something there against UMG and time will tell how that plays out. Like, do they have to reveal that they're actually paying? And I think, yes, I agree that Drake, this is super anti-hip hop. And Drake, what makes you the exception? You benefited from all this, or probably, I'm assuming, again, has benefited from this sort of botting and this sort of promotion and inflating of numbers to draw, attention to music. But in the end, I think if you're playing in this, dirty playground and you have someone who wants to expose you just because it didn't go their way, right? You always have that kid like in school that tattletales to the teacher against everybody else. But as soon as they're caught, they might tell the principal and the teacher, right? So I think time is going to tell how that plays out. Then it goes on to say he claims UMG attached the label chart topper to Not Like Us, despite knowing that title was based on fraudulent data. Now, this is a little confusing to me. I don't know exactly. I don't have inside information. What does it mean, chart topper? I'm assuming that they saw it as a song that is top of the charts. I don't know what's wrong with labeling it that. It sounds like what he's trying to say is that they're giving this song certain labels and they were trying to push it so much even though it wasn't really there, right? So if you bought a song and then you say this song is topping the charts, then he's saying that's fraudulent data, right? So maybe that's a legal thing. Next thing it says, it's also clear Drake's very mindful of what's going down in New Orleans next month. In the suit, he claims UMG was in on getting Kendrick the Super Bowl halftime gig. So the song could be performed on that massive stage, which he calls one of the most significant cultural events of the year. Now, this part is interesting to me. This is new information that he's saying that UMG was in on helping Kendrick get the gig. Now, what's so wrong with that if that's the case? To me, I don't know if UMG has that power to decide who goes there. What is Drake really trying to say here is that it seems convoluted to me because Kendrick already won the rap beef, right? It's over. Are you saying they helped Kendrick get the Super Bowl halftime show in order just for him to perform Not Like Us? I don't know. That seems a little off. It sounds like what he's saying is that UMG is defaming him so bad that they're literally getting Kendrick the Super Bowl halftime gig only so that he can sing this song Not Like Us. That's defaming me. That everything, again, a lot of this just seems really narcissistic and very egotistical for sure. No one wants to be defamed, but It just sounds like he's making everything was about his defamation. When in the end, this was a rap battle between Kendrick Lamar, one of the best artists, and Drake. Finally came head to head, and Kendrick Lamar came out victorious, and that's that. Someone maybe quote unquote defamed in one way, another person said other words, defamed in another way, and Kendrick's narrative and his music was victorious. Now Drake is saying, no, all of y'all and all of UMG is doing all of this to promote Kendrick. We're doing everything. You're promoting Kendrick so much only to defame me, right? Seems a little egotistical. Next, it says, interestingly, Drake isn't going directly after Kendrick in the suit. In fact, he says this lawsuit is not about the artist who created Not Like Us. It is instead entirely about UMG, the music company that decided to publish, promote, exploit, and monetize the song, which it knew contained false claims. Now, this part is really interesting to me because this says a lot. If you feel like you're being defamed, why aren't you not going after Kendrick himself, right? He's the one who told the story. He's the one who said that narrative. Why aren't you suing Kendrick? Now, that's why it makes me say, is this really about defamation? Or is it really about the fact that you lost and it's about money, right? Because if you really feel that this was so inflammatory against you, why don't you just say, you know what, Kendrick, you said this about me, I'm suing you. No, you're skipping Kendrick and you're saying, let me just sue the big dog, which makes it sound like it isn't really about the defamation, but that it's about how this umbrella turned against you or supported Kendrick in a way against you, right? So in the end, it feels still very narcissistic. It's about that you all chose Kendrick and I'm upset about that. That's how I'm really reading this as to why he goes after UMG. I don't know what you all think. Tell me in the comments below. The next thing it says here, as for how the song put Drake in danger, he points out that since Kendrick dropped the mega hit, there have been multiple shootings at or near his Toronto mansion, one of which ended with one of his security guards getting shot. I don't know, from a lawyer perspective, I guess he's trying to prove somehow that this defamation, it caused harm in his life. But my understanding, and who knows, time will tell, is that people were saying that those shootings weren't related to Not Like Us in a way. They were related to some prior beef that Drake had. I don't think someone from the West Coast, went all up in Canada and had anything to do with that. Of course, I don't know. I'm only speculating and only time will tell. I don't know how that relates to the defamation in a way. I don't know how he ties that, so time will tell. The next thing, it says, the music industry and fans of Kendrick and Drake thought Drake was retreating in this legal battle because on Tuesday, he filed a motion to drop a legal action he'd filed against UMG and Spotify in New York State court. Our sources tell us that was merely done to clear the way for his new federal case. And that's something that we all see. And that's why I wasn't super, jumping up for joy when I saw that withdrawal from the petition, because it did seem that UMG not responding was clear that he had this other case. It looks like he only dropped it now so he could focus, kind of put everything on, all his eggs in one basket and focus on his one big, what they're calling a federal case, which is pretty aggressive. This could be pretty massive. Who would have known that something Kendrick did would have come out to be so massive to this extent that you have one of the biggest artists, Drake, suing one of the biggest music companies in the world over Kendrick's storytelling? Who would have known?